Ooh, man. This could be pretty big news for Huawei. Wow. Hey, what is up, everybody? Michael here. Welcome back to another video. And guys, wow. What a bombshell yesterday became. Everybody was talking about it. Everyone was all over the news about this, and you know me, I gotta put my 2 cents in, but this could be a lot bigger than we're talking about. So let me break this down. So if you guys have not heard by now, and this is gonna only focus on Huawei today, this is a 1 episode, all focusing on this subject. I'll get back into other news tomorrow, but guys, Google has cut ties with Huawei with their Android license. So with all the information provided and everything that I've been able to gather, I'm going to try to break down this situation to the best that I can to give you guys a full understanding of what the hell is going on. Now, before we start, let me just give you a backstory to how this all became. So Huawei and America have been really kind of relationship, mainly with the President of the United States, Donald Trump. We don't need to get into politics here, but basically, Donald Trump has not been a big fan of Huawei because of his belief and American belief that they are spying on American citizens through the use of their devices, not just the phones, but also any part of their technology. Huawei has come out many times and have said that they don't spy on Americans. However, though, there is a law in China that states if you own a Chinese branded product, all that information, no matter what the Chinese company is, they must give it to the Chinese government. Now, obviously, that's not a good thing if there's America in the mix, because there are American users that use these products. So there is a trade war going on right now with whatever going on, but focusing on the tech aspects, basically, Huawei was banned from America, and it just got reinforced when Donald Trump signed an executive order, or President Trump for that matter, because everybody doesn't say, oh, Donald Trump is the president. So President Trump signed the executive order to basically stop Huawei from using American technology. And that just so happens to be Android. So Android, or Google, that makes Android, they have to comply with this executive order, and they had no choice but to take away their Android license. Now, this is pretty big, and I'm not talking mind blown, but it could go in 2 different routes. I'm gonna explain 2 scenarios this could play out, but I'm not gonna say which scenario it is, but these are the 2 scenarios that could happen to all of this. So, basically, the Android license gave them the Google Play Store, the updates to Android Pie, 10, any Android update. Now, when they took the license away, they're not getting anything. No Play Store, no updates, no nothing. So that means your Huawei phone is done. Now, they did make a record and state that even though you will get the latest updates to finish out with whatever version of Android you're on, from this point forward, you will not be getting any future Android updates. And that is pretty bad. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, what's gonna happen to Huawei? Well, this could put Huawei into a big situation, because although there is another way around this, they can use the open source Android. Why would you want to use that? Because you still don't have access to the Google Play Store, but also the open source is kind of not good. Yeah. And thinking about it now just kind of makes this situation very complex for Huawei. And I don't even work for Huawei. I don't even know anything much about them, except that they were probably the biggest smartphone name in America at some point. But what I will say, though, is that if they do use this Android open operating system, which looks like they may have no choice but to do so, it's a very tricky situation. Now, you're probably saying, Huawei was working on an OS. Whatever happened to that? Well, Huawei kind of knew this was going to happen at some point, so they have been trying to work on something, but it doesn't look like they're going to really push through it like Huawei OS or anything. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, so we can kind of assume that that's not happening. But what are the 2 scenarios that I'm talking about? What could this mean? Well, here are my 2 scenarios. Two scenarios are this could be bigger than we are anticipating, or it could just be a fluke and it could probably die down once America and China reach an agreement and maybe happens. Let's go into the scenario one. Huawei doesn't get their license for a long time, and let's assume it's a long time. Their smartphones are kind of useless at this point. There's no way to recuperate from this. You can't get the Google Play Store. Android is Android without the Google Play Store. Now you can probably get it in other ways and go through the of trying to get it, but that isn't things into your device. So realistically, it's really tricky if they're gonna do this. And if they don't get their license, this could break Huawei in the biggest way. They don't just need other products to keep them familiar. They're known for their smartphones. So not being able to do this kind of makes their smartphones useless. On the other hand, if America and China are to work this out and Huawei gets their license back sooner than expected, then this all will just die down. But can they survive without Android? That's a really big question, and I don't think they can, because that's their whole platform of making their devices work. So this is a pretty big situation. Now everyone out there is probably going to put their politics sense. I want to please refrain from involving politics. Unfortunately though, this is in the realm because of what's going on. And of course America wants to care about safety for Americans. So realistically, this is a very tricky situation. Now, my personal opinion, I'm just letting you know right now, this is my personal opinion. I personally think that this situation is gonna go on. And there will be some resolution, but it's gotta come in the form of Huawei complying with some ways of not trying to give up to the government, but unfortunately they can't because there is a law in China that says you have to give things to the Chinese government. So this is a very messy situation, and I think it's not gonna get resolved anytime soon. So that's what all I gotta say about the Huawei situation. I don't know if they can survive without Android, because taking the license away gives you access to a lot of stuff on the Google Play Store. You're gonna have to convince developers to develop apps if you're gonna use the open source or come out with your own OS store. Look at the Windows Phone. It died out because they weren't able to convince developers to develop apps. And also similar to Samsung, but Samsung kind of got a little edge now because of Fortnite. But still, the point that I'm trying to make is that Huawei is in a big hole, and it's gonna take a while before they dig themselves out of this one. So that's all I've really got to say. So that does it for this video. Thank you for watching. I really hope you were able to understand this situation. I don't know what to say, but it is what it is, guys. So if you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. If you don't even know what's going on here, just click that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thank you guys so much for 450 subs. We are just close to 500. I'm hoping we can hit 500 over the summer, so thank you guys so much for subscribing and tuning in. And guys, I'll be doing a special wrestling video to all my wrestling fans. I'm going to try to get some friends involved in this. So thank you for watching, and peace.